Yeah, that's Chaga Black, and that's the one that it actually has some Siberian black chaga because chaga likes the cold, hardy environments. And if I may, there's actually a traditional history to this. What he had found, this Russian author, is that the people there, they make the chaga tea themselves. They have been for many years, and they make big pots of this stuff that throughout the day they do their work. They fill up their cups, and they attribute it to the longevity. Some of them live to be in their 90s and 100s, and definitely antioxidants. Another term for that is anti-aging. Chaga has over 200 different nutrients, plant compounds that are there. So it's very dense in a lot of good things that are working for you. And so, B vitamins, minerals like magnesium, even some rare minerals that are hard to get. And when we talk about antioxidants, there's kind of a hierarchy of these
Right.
antioxidants.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Healthy Habit Podcast, episode number 121. I'm your host, Dr. Dayan of Healthy Habit Medical Center, located nice and conveniently right here inside Healthy Habit Health Foods at 6029 6029 North 7th Street, right on the corner of Bethany Home Road and 7th Street. And today, look who's back for our monthly check-in representing North American Herb and Spice, one of the fan favorites here, good friend of ours, great partner of ours here at Healthy Habit. We're talking with Steven Harkins today for episode 121. And Steven is so he comes in, he does a monthly check-in here with North American Herb and Spice, keeps us in the loop with what's going on at the company. Back in the day, we used to talk with Dr. Cass Ingram, representing North American Herb and Spice, and we kind of transitioned. Steve took over. He's been educating us ever since here, and Steve's the Director of Education at North American Herb and Spice. Steven, welcome back.
Thank you very much. You are always a gracious host, and it's always a pleasure. I really look forward to our talks, and I hope, and I think I know that a lot of you are getting value out of this content, and you've got such a value over there at the health store. You've got real practitioners on staff that know what's going on.
Thanks for your kind words, my friend. So let's dive right into it. Folks, if you missed our last discussion interview with Steven, I would head over to episode number 110, 110, and check us, stay in the loop. We talked to Rega Resp in that episode, Rega Biotic. We even talked on safety for children on certain supplements. We hit on the Royal Power and much more. So today, what we're going to highlight is Chaga. We're talking mushrooms today and a really interesting grape product. So let's dive right into it. Stage is yours, Steven.
Thank you. Yeah. So Chaga is very interesting to me. We our first experience as a company with Chaga, was back in the early 2000s before it was being talked about or found in the stores. And Miss Judy was on a trip in Canada, and she was visiting with some of the Aboriginal natives there, the Indian population that lived there before, the Canadians we know today. And they are very much in touch with nature, very much in tune, and they always have been. And we can learn a lot from those people. And they were telling her about this wild chaga that they were harvesting. And they were like, you've got to get it. You've got to have it. It's the best thing that you haven't heard of. And a lot of people could be helped by it. And they started telling her all these numerous benefits, how it helps the immune system, how it's great for energy and vitality, and of course, inflammation support as well, and skin support, and on and on. And she's like, I don't know, I'm not, and she was, she knew so much about so much out there, but never heard about this. So she decided to give it a chance, and she had been using it and trying it, and she just felt tremendous energy, like a cup of coffee, where you didn't have to do the coffee, or you woke up the next day like ready to clean out your closet, ready
As
to
I took a
start
sip
the
of
day.
coffee right there, perfect timing.
And so now you see people combining chaga with coffee. You see a lot of these mushroom coffee things, and now I would what Dr. Dehan, maybe like in the past 5 or 10 years, maybe even like before the pandemic, you started to see the emergence of these chaga packets. People knowing about the mushroom, touting its benefits, and I think in the natural product industry, it's in the top 40 at this point in time.
What
And so
is
we've been
exactly?
doing it
What's in the
for a long time.
what's in the top 40 exactly?
Chaga,
Got it.
chaga mushrooms.
Wow. So through North American Urban Spice, we have the ChagaMax, we have the Chaga-Power, we even have the Chaga Birch Bark combination. So let's just start at the top there with ChagaMax. And by the way, folks, Stan the demo man, he's our third party here. The three of us communicate, get ready for these shows, and Stan's at the clinic slash store, same hours that I'm there, same days, Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Come talk to Stan the demo man. He has literature, books authored by the late, great Dr. Cass Ingram, and samples. So go visit Stan and talk to him, and he'll get you guys set up. Let's start with ChagaMax, Steven.
Well, chaga max is the capsule form. And so we take the chaga, we grind it because, most mushrooms are soft.
Right.
Chaga is, we call it a
Hard.
mushroom, but it's really a fungal conch that grows on the birch tree. And it has some of that birch bark in it, which has some health properties for the immune. And so this thing takes up to 15 to 20 years growing on a tree.
Wow.
They grind it into this powder, and then we put some oregano in it to boost, kind of turbocharge the immune support factor. And so it's convenient. You don't have to taste it. You can get it in there right away on the go. So a lot of people enjoy this ChagaMax product, and it's in capsules.
Got it. And I'm just doing a quick screen share here. A lot of people, they don't know what chaga mushroom looks like, and it's really interesting. It doesn't look like the typical, like the emoji, the mushroom emoji on phones. It doesn't look like that necessarily.
Yeah, it's good
And
good to get a visual.
so you can see it's hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can see that. So in the
That
case of the
brown black.
right, in
Mhm.
the case of ChagaMax, is it this part of the mushroom that's being used that's just ground up, or is it the mycelium, which would be the underground component? Tell us about that a little bit.
So we use the whole thing. So when we
Okay.
harvest, we use the actual chaga part, and then we use some of the birch naturally comes off as well, the birch bark. And so we're
Yeah.
grinding all of it, which is very interesting because a lot of others, a lot of the famous method is to either do like an alcohol extraction from
Yeah.
it, um and then also there's another extraction that's done, but we just do it. We keep it raw. That's our main goal because we know that there's these plant sterols and different enzymes
Right.
that are needed to stay raw. Once you put heat, you kind of denature. So we actually just grind it into a very fine powder that you can then absorb in the body.
Got it. Raw ChagaMax, folks, wild sourced, high ORAC score. It says it right here in the top right. Tell us about this. We've covered this in previous episodes, but that's why we do check-ins, folks, reminders. Tell us about the
Yes.
ORAC, ORAC score.
So ORAC is something that is very practical for everyone. You want to get as much ORAC as you can in every meal and every bite. And what that simply is a measurement of antioxidants. So we have these free radicals, we have these positively charged ions that can cause problems, can damage cells, can cause inflammation in the body. And so antioxidants are the solution for that. And
Yeah.
that's in our foods. And some foods have unusually high amounts, and ORAC stands for oxygen radical absorption capacity, but it simply means a measurement of antioxidant levels. And chaga is very much in the top list, if not the top food for antioxidant levels per gram. So it's a great way to just get a large amount in a small dose.
Amazing. So let's do a quick summary on ChagaMax, because this isn't just mushroom in there. In North American urban spice fashion, you got to throw in some of that oregano in there, folks. That wild Mediterranean oregano oil. Come on now, with the birch bark. Tell us then, who needs this? Why would somebody start taking this as opposed to just the P73, for example?
So everybody really needs this. Now, what I like about chaga is the way it interacts with the immune system is very symbiotic, to use a mushroom term there. So it actually works with the immune system. It doesn't,
Yeah.
give it a harsh response. And another term we would use is, for your autoimmune situations out there, not making any claims, but it's known as immunomodulatory. So it just gently modulates with the immune system instead of, giving it a hard punch. And that's why you might now, oregano is wonderful, but it has high amounts of carvacrol, which is very aggressive and it
Right.
needs to be. But this is the perfect blend where you're getting, the best of two very powerful immune agents together, and they kind of balance each other out. So it's a good balance for your immune response.
And then let's plug in Chaga-Power now. That's going to be a separate product, correct?
Chag-o-Power, yeah. So this is the same chaga that we were showing here with some oregano, but just in a drop form. So
Oh,
we love to give oils and drops because capsules, some of us are taking like 20 capsules a day,
right.
and we just need we need other options. And this is easy to absorb. And so if you need it quickly, it's good for an energy boost, and it's just a good way to get it in very efficiently, and we even put some cinnamon in here to help with the taste. And yeah, so you can do it in a dropper format. This is called Chaga-Power.
Perfect. I feel like liquid herbs, they I don't know if they're truly absorbed faster. It feels like that, though. They're just more powerful. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm partial to the liquid. There's certain things I have to do in a capsule, like beef
Yeah.
liver.
Right. Right.
Hey, I don't want to taste that, or like,
No.
salmon oil or something. So anything I can get away with, like oregano soft gels versus oregano oil, I'll do both. But I like this can be used topical as well.
Okay.
So if you have some, skin rash or irritation, something going on with your skin, fill in the blank. Chaga is actually very high in melanin.
Uh
So
huh.
you can put this on the skin topically and get a benefit.
What would it do? Like just as in terms of like an anti-inflammatory, maybe. Yeah. Right. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Yes. Massive going back to that ORAC,
The
that
ORAC.
high antioxidant to help the skin. The skin wants to heal. It does heal itself. If you ever have a cut or a burn or a scrape, the skin will heal itself. But you can help it along by putting something like this, which has the oregano and the chaga. That melanin is wonderful for just kind of, you think about it on the tree, on the birch tree, the chaga is there to actually help the bark, and help it really helps the skin of the tree, if you will, as
Oh,
well.
interesting. Right. So then that happens a lot in nature where the substance is growing or what it kind of looks like can resemble what it benefits the human body, right?
Yes.
Fascinating. So folks, if you're just tuning in, we're talking Steven Harkins here, North American Urban Spice, episode number 121 of the Healthy Habit Podcast. Again, last time we talked to Steve was episode 110, and even more basically once a month we come in. Steve does a monthly check-in. Today we're covering chaga mushroom, and a couple different ways you can get this mushroom into your diet, into your nutrition plan, into your supplement regimen. So let's then hit on the chaga birch bark combination, because that happens in ChagaMax. The birch bark's in there as well. Is there a separate standalone product that's just those two, or?
Well, we at this point, we do have this one, which is like a tea, which is chaga and birch together, and actually all of them have some birch. We
Okay.
used to have a standalone birch product, but now we just stick with more of the chaga and birch
Okay.
combination.
And that was the chaga black?
Yeah, that's chaga black, and that's the one that it actually has some Siberian black chaga, because chaga likes the cold, hardy environments. And if I may, there's actually a traditional history to this.
Yeah.
You think about Siberia; it's set records for the coldest place on Earth. People really struggle there, but they live there. I mean, and they live long lives, and that's the interesting thing. And you go over to the other side where the Inuits are, and they're not living those long lives, and they're in the same environment. So what's going on? What's the difference?
Right.
And what they had found, this author, what he had found, this Russian author, is that the people there, they make the chaga tea themselves. They have been for many years, and they actually said Lipton tea came in there and tried to sell them some tea, and they're like, no, we're good. We
Hmm.
got the chaga.
Right.
But they make big pots of this stuff that throughout the day they do their work. They fill up their cups, and they attribute it to the longevity. Some of them live to be in their 90s and 100s, and definitely antioxidants. Another term for that is anti-aging.
Right.
And so, yeah, eat to live long and get those antioxidants.
Right.
So you can do the tea. It's very delicious. Put a little bit of honey in there, and that's another way to do it.
Yeah, and mushrooms are highly evidence-based, folks. You can just go to Google and let's start with chaga since we're talking about chaga today. You just type in chaga mushroom health and then you can add that word scholar. You know, we like to add that at the end. Filters out all the noise, the nonsense studies. So, and you can just read all the different benefits from life extension to reducing oxidative stress, improving vitality, energy, so many different benefits with chaga.
You
And
know,
of course, go ahead.
chaga has over 200 different nutrients, plant compounds that are there. So it's very dense in a lot of good things that are working for you. And so, B vitamins, minerals like magnesium, even some rare minerals that are hard to get. And when we talk about antioxidants, there's kind of a hierarchy of these
Right.
antioxidants, right? And some are stronger and have better effects, more potent than others. And so one of them is called, like, you've probably heard of glutathione. A lot of people have, and
Yeah.
people want that because it's one of the best. SOD is right there with glutathione. There's kind of a debate that it might even be a little bit higher. That's called superoxide dismutase. Chaga is the highest food source of SOD
Wow.
that we know of. And so that's a big secret to its mechanism.
Got it. So someone that might be fatigued, they're looking for anti-inflammatory support and they want to try a different approach instead of just the typicals that they might have tried before. That probably a good starting point for chaga.
Yeah, I think fatigue is, you hit the nail on the head. So if you're tired, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get back at an activity level that you want to be at the next day. And the practical application, the workplace, right? It's Wednesday, it's Thursday, you're already tired, but you need to keep going. You need to finish. Athletes, students, truckers, we all parents,
Yeah.
we still have to keep going. And this helps you recover faster, but also it gives you what you need to have energy and have strength sustainably, not just a big jolt of caffeine, but the actual nutrients that power our bodies.
Perfect. Let's. That's a great summary on chaga. Answered a lot of my questions I had about it. We showed some images of what chaga actually looks like in nature. You talked about the harvesting process, the different products offered through a North American urban spice. If someone wants to start getting chaga into their lifestyle, and some people, like you said, they mix it with their coffee. That's a popular way to use mushrooms. You'll combine the two. There's a lot of mushroom coffees out there. So
Yes.
let's hit on Grape-Power. I want to really hit on this one. Stan suggested we discuss Grape-e-Power today. So yeah, go ahead and let's hear about Grape-e-Power.
So that is a sleeper for sure. We are one of the only companies I know of that takes certain fruits like pomegranate, and in this case, grape, and we take the whole fruit and we low heat it, very low, gentle heat into a syrup. So this is actually a concentrated red and green grape syrup. And what you can do with this is, what I like to do is I like to make a grape soda. So I will
Yeah.
just do, I'll line my cup with a couple tablespoons of this. I'll put some sparkling water, and you've got a very healthy grape soda. Grapes are fantastic for your blood vessels, for your arteries, and just the cardiovascular picture as a whole. And so this is a way of getting something that actually tastes good, and turning it into, another hack for your health. And you can also put this over um, fruit, like a
Hmm.
like a parfait kind of thing, or yogurt, and it's really delicious, and of course very concentrated, and
Yeah.
it's just preserved with cinnamon. That's it.
I mean, look at that color, folks. That means it's just a sign of the deep
It's pure.
antioxidant support you're going to get from something like this. It's a syrup. And if I zoom in here to the ingredients, the wild red/green grape concentrate made from 100% Mediterranean grapes and some cinnamon oil, and that's it.
Yes,
In a glass bottle, correct?
that is correct. Glass
Yep.
bottle, and of course wild, which is even a cut above organic, higher antioxidant levels as well.
And you can see down here at the bottom too, there's 11,000 plus 11,025 ORAC value per bottle, similar to that Chaga, which I mean, Chaga's higher still. I think it was over 20,000. But imagine you're combining both of those. If you stack the two of those throughout the week, how much
Absolutely.
antioxidant support you'd be getting compared to before that. So And yeah, there's sugar in here. You can see 11 grams of sugar, but that's naturally found in the grapes. People have been eating grapes for thousands of years. It's one of the oldest fruits, right, Steven?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Dates is another good
old school.
example. They're super high in sugar. You don't eat a lot, but they are so precious for your health. And
Yeah.
being wild, you'll notice anything wild has a better flavor because those antioxidants, those flavanols, are present.
And you can see here that grapes are a natural source of ellagic acid. So, do you want to quickly educate what is that exactly, ellagic acid? If I pull up
Yeah,
here, phenolic polyphenols, they might have heard of
yes.
polyphenols and resveratrol and stuff like that. So, let's hit on ellagic acid real quick, richly found in grapes.
Well, it's a botanical type compound, and it's very well. There's several studies for the brain and for the heart, but the ones I'm most familiar with are the ones that show how it helps with your arterial plaque,
Yeah.
uh, naturally cleanses your arteries, and ellagic acid is incredible for that. I know we have a lot of. I just talked to a gentleman yesterday, and he's like, "What do you have for plaque?" Because he just had a bypass surgery, and
Yeah.
he said that his friend told him that they don't really mess with the carotid artery, and he's afraid that there's still some issues here. So is there anything natural? Started talking to him about grape and pomegranate and the ellagic acid picture. And can you imagine that you could actually drink something that tastes really good and be supporting your arterial health at the same time?
Yeah, these things are really incredible for men's health too. So it helps with fertility and many other benefits. Help cancer. It helps with the heart. Number one killer of Americans is heart disease. Ellagic acid, pomegranates, grapes are unbelievably beneficial for the cardiovascular system and the
Yes.
arteries. Why is that? I mean, there's many reasons, but one of them, it cuts that inflammation down in the arteries, right?
That's right. Yes.
So,
And it's something that we need more of in our standard American diet, to be honest. In the Mediterranean and in the Middle East, they've known about this for a long time. And for the men out there that won't take anything because it doesn't taste good and you're over 40 and you
yeah.
got to do something, this is your answer, plain and simple. And I like to say it's like a roto rooter, for that arterial. Your arteries, if you laid them out, thousands and thousands of miles
Wow.
of tubes going through,
Yep.
and so you don't want any obstruction or unnatural plaquey formation.
And if you're already working with a doctor, folks, for all the listeners, just run this by them. Maybe bring a bottle or show them on your phone this Grape-e-Power, ellagic acid, things we're discussing here today with Steven. They can give you the nod of approval. Go ahead, because we're not giving any medical advice. It's just an educational platform. Put these things on your radar, and you guys can make the choice thereafter. So, a couple minutes left here to go, and we've been covering ChagaMax, Chaga-Power drops. We just hit on Grape-e-Power and ellagic acid. Action-packed show here today with Steven Harkins. And what else? Let me see here. I wanted to pull up one more product. Did you want to touch on anything else before we start our wrap up here, Steven?
Yeah, I think I might mention, just a segue for bone health for the
Okay.
skeletal
All right. The
picture.
BoneActiv. Yep.
Yeah, we've got something that maybe not everybody knows about. It's called BoneActiv. And so this is a formula very sophisticated. It uses the hydroxyapatite or the MCHC, and that is a bone ground up bone material from grass-fed New Zealand cattle, the very best that you can get out here. And it's full of different minerals that our bones need, that our bones must have, in order to stay dense, in order to continue on for us even into our older years.
Right.
And people always ask, what do you got for bones? And I like to say, it's about 100 milligrams of calcium in each capsule or excuse me, in each serving, which is 2 capsules. And then we use the herbs. We make use of the oregano, sage, and rosemary.
Yeah.
There's some great research out there. There's this guy, if you look up Google and you go to Mulbauer, he is a Swedish researcher, and he was on a mission to find what foods and herbs are out there that may support bone density, and can we test for that? And he found different results, and the herbs came up the highest. So like the rosemary and the sage and
Hmm.
the oregano came up very high for bone density. So when you combine that with the ground up bone from New Zealand cattle, you're just getting the whole mineral herbal picture. It's a great supplement you can do with your diet, just to keep the bones going healthy.
You can see we have a capsule version, the raw BoneActiv with the raw hydroxyapatite and wild spice, and it's an herbal combination plus the actual raw hydroxyapatite MCHA, which you can research after. And then there's also a topical rub, so two different ways you can get the BoneActiv into and onto the body, so which will support a healthy bone density and potentially help ease joint pain, inflammation, potentially if you're dealing with arthritis. No medical advice, potentially will help, maybe. So they've been going strong for decades, this company helping a lot of people, so I wouldn't rule it out. Topical rub, capsules, both available here through North American Urban Spice. What's a good take home and recap for today, Stephen? Episode 121.
Well, everything we've been talking about today is just simply more of a culinary variety. So it's all about the superfoods and herbs, and some of the things we talked about are probably things that you don't really have in your diet. It's not the
Right.
typical thing. And so maybe you are eating more strawberries, maybe you are trying to get more Brussels sprouts and things like that in your diet. And good job, hats off to you. But what we try to provide is, some of these more exotic or rare foods that are out there that maybe weren't on your radar that you can add in and then just get that extra benefit. If you're kind of plateauing in your health, introduce something new, change it up, and see what it does for you.
Appreciate your time as always, Stephen. Looking forward to our next monthly check in May.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next time.